Hey, how y'all doing? This is Son 919 Truth Sports coming to you with another segment. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into it. I like to break my segments up sometimes to break away from the monotony of the Colorado bus football, or anything close to that or connected to that. Most of the channels are the same thing over and over and over, talking about Colorado football, which is cool. It's interesting because I support a lot of those channels, but I try to break it up and be a little bit more versatile. So I titled this one, "Why What Coach Sanders is doing at Colorado is good for black players, and it gives them the best of both worlds." And this may be a two-part segment, so I might get a little long, but it is what it is. I really like this segment. I want you to kind of listen to it and get into it and give some feedback on it. But I first got this idea from listening to Bit Tiger Media. That's a very good YouTube channel. It covers a lot of the Buffs for the most part. I think he lives out in Florida, so he talks about those teams as well. But I like to check out his YouTube from time to time, and he brought up a great topic, and it hit me to heart when he talked about it. And he talked about what Coach Prime is doing at Colorado is good for the black players. And I want to also flip it to be positive sometimes, because I like what Coach Prime is doing. I just don't like the amount of transfers, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's not because I don't understand college football is changing, et cetera, et cetera. I just think about the kids, man. You're talking about 80 players in 2 years that, for whatever reason, had to leave the school and try to find other homes. That's hard to do. And I just think about the kids. That's one of the reasons I created this channel, because I want to come from the perspective of the player, of the kids, of the parents of those kids. And that's the only thing I don't like. Shipping out 40 guys, I don't think I could do that. And I think it gets to a point where you just have to coach what you have to a certain level. You can't always win in the transfer portal. You got over 3,000 guys sitting there now that didn't get picked up. So, but let me get right back into it. Big Tigger talked about how when he first went away to his predominantly white school, because he went to Appalachian State, and that's located in the mountains of North Carolina if you've never been there, and it's in the mountains for real. I mean, moonshine and everything up in that part of North Carolina. I've been there a couple of times. We had East Carolina actually played against them in basketball and football, so I've been there about 3 or 4 times. Even driving up there, it's just mountains, man. It's very different. It's beautiful, but it's different. But when you go there, I can understand the isolated feeling that you may have when you go to a school like that. So I flipped that into my experience, because when I first went away from high school, I went to a JUCO in Murfreesboro, North Carolina. Literally, when I went to Murfreesboro, North Carolina, it was I don't even want to say a stoplight, like a caution light downtown, and downtown was maybe 20 or 30 blocks on both sides, and that was the end of downtown. I mean, it was almost nothing there. So that was my experience there. So, and the population was very small. I think it had 2,800 people at the time when I went down there. Of course, it's grown since then. But you had people like me. I'm from Raleigh. I'm from the city of Raleigh. Like, I lived in the city, not out in the country parts. You had kids from Charlotte, New York, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and all of them had issues or heartaches adjusting to playing in a predominantly white area, in a small town predominantly white area. And I did too, and we kind of got through it together. But some guys would go away on the weekends and not come back to like Monday or Tuesday, almost like they were forced to come back. Some of them didn't finish at all. Some of them just left their things in their rooms and had friends to bring it back for them. They did not want to come back because they couldn't adjust. And this is athletes and just regular civilian students. And you got to think about a kid. Let's say a kid that goes to Iowa or North Dakota or down in the SEC at Mississippi State, South Carolina, or even Alabama. See, I think like that. I think about those players who are coming from the inner cities, and then when they go to your favorite schools, you just want them to perform at your favorite school. You have no idea the type of, in some cases, the loneliness you feel. You feel out of place. You look at people like, man, is it like racist here? Like, how would they treat me? Will I have to defend myself, et cetera, et cetera? When my friends and family even drive down to come see me because it's so isolated or so far away from where I live. And that happens. And one of the things that you do is, like, once you get outside the facility, at first you don't feel comfortable. Your escape is inside the facility, but as soon as you leave that facility, you just feel out of place, man. It's crazy. And it doesn't matter the school, the place, or whatever. It takes time to adjust to that. And it can be an issue. Some people, that's why they transfer. You all don't know it, but a lot of times they transfer simply because of that. They may give you some BS reason why they left, but a lot of it was, and you hear homesickness a lot, it's not necessarily homesickness. It's just a location of the school that they're at and how they feel about it. And that's an adjustment that can be hard to make sometimes. That's why being on a team when you go to a school far away is very, very important, and it saves a lot of kids from transferring because they have other people going through the same things as they are. The coach understands how you're feeling, so you can get some good support as far as that's concerned. The problem is outside the facility and the team, can you adjust to that new lifestyle? It's just one of the things that you really have to think about. Can you make that adjustment? I'll give you a perfect story. I met this girl and I got invited out to this barn fire. I had never been to a barn fire in my life, but chasing girls. So I go down there. I go with them down there. It's a car full of us, and we get out the car, and this damn sure it's a big bonfire going on in the middle of the field. And I'm looking at that thing like, my God, I'm at a barn fire, and it's a real barn. Like the horses had, it was an abandoned barn. No horses was in it, of course, but it was light inside of it. It's hay everywhere. It was barn fire outside. It was a table and everything on the inside. Everybody was just drinking, playing cards, etc., etc. And I caught myself like, where the hell am I at and what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? But it was a different experience for me, just like it was to a lot of other people. And I'm a 6'5" black guy sitting there in the middle of a field at a barn fire. Think about that. And that was kind of funny when I look back on it, but it was kind of crazy, going through that experience. And then, of course, just sitting there drinking, and I'm just like, what am I doing at this, middle of this barn in this big open field? But it is what it is. But that's like one of the experiences when you do go to a white school or predominantly white school. It's the lifestyle, it's the adjustment that you're making, it's the people that you're adjusting to. Can they adjust to you? You're trying to fit in. You are a minority, but you're trying to fit in. And then the thing about it, if you're shy and you're pretty good at what you do, everybody notices you. Kind of like what Cormani dealt with. Everybody knew who he was, so he couldn't really adjust. He couldn't really go through his, the adjustment period or the depression you fight through without people questioning him and looking at him like he could not blend in because he was a 5-star athlete at that school. And that's just what it was. And I did segments on that, and people actually, I got a lot of reaction from that. Now, if you go to a HBCU, yes, this is the dilemma. You can go to a HBCU and forget all the things I just said about adjusting, etc., etc. You can go and be surrounded by your own people, the minorities, however way you want to look at it. Everything is your culture. Everything is black. Everything is great. As far as that's concerned, you're going to feel more comfortable quicker. The homecomings are great. The band is great, but where you lose at is on the facilities as a player. So you're going to walk in, you're going to be comfortable, all your people are there, etc., etc. But then when it's time to do your sport, the facilities are not going to be that good for the most part. It's not the same budget. The gear will not be the same as it is at the big school you could have went to. The travel won't be the same, and it's just a lot you lack in the HBCU, and I'm gonna do a segment on that because I don't think it has to be that way. So you can go to a white school, a predominantly white school, and everything's it's a big school. You got everything as far as gear, but the TV, etc., etc. But it's an adjustment, and can you make that adjustment? And you're still dealing with yourself as a person on the outside looking in. At least that's how you feel sometimes. You all think it's great because you cheering for him on the field, but we know as a player, most of the time you're not on the field. There's only one game a week, and that's just what the facts are. So I told you about the predominantly white school, and I told you about at an HBCU. Now this is where Coach Prime is doing a great job because a lot of his staff is black. Most of his players, I'm gonna say 90% is black or a minority, and he's giving them the best of both worlds. Okay. You're coming to a mostly white school at Colorado, which is a very nice school. I will go there. It's in a white town. And it is what it is. So first you have to acclimate yourself, to to the where they're below. You have to adjust yourself to the breathing. I can't think of the name right now. You have to excuse me. And then you have to adjust to the white university, like a pure white university. Most of the people who are minorities are on that football team, of course. So you have to adjust to that. Okay. Now you're at the school where you're going to get a good education. Colorado's a very good school as far as education is concerned. So you're going to get a good education. You're still around mostly your people because most of the team is black, of course. So you will feel some of your black culture. Coach Prime carries himself, like a black culture coach, if that makes sense. He's not some white man, talking about running a bunch of black kids. It's a black man running black kids, and he's not so far away from them that he can't. He's very mature, but he can wear shades like them. He can wear hats. His gear, he wears certain gear. He wears with a certain swag that'll make you comfortable. You understand what I'm saying? So with him being black, most of the staff being black, you got ex-pros there, which is great. You can meet people like Stephen A. Smith. You can meet people like Shannon Sharp, Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne, other black celebrities. A lot of black excellence comes to that school. So you get in the white world with Colorado, of course, but then Coach Prime is also giving you that HBCU feel at the same time. And I have to commend him on that because that's not easy to do. I have to commend him and the athletic director for letting a lot of that go on. So a lot of times when you see the concerts and this and that, it's to make his players comfortable. And that's why he can get so many people to come there and at least give him a shot. They may not last there for whatever reason, but they're going to come there because you can get that feeling like this just like being in Alabama, and then you got somebody like Coach Prime. There's also make you feel like you also at a HBCU almost. So. And again, you can deal with black excellence at their school, and I have to give him credit for that. He even changed, their cafeteria, the food that they eat, and it makes you feel more at home, and it makes you feel like people care about the type of food that I eat, et cetera, et cetera. It may be small to you all on the outside looking in, but it's big to the players because that's where they spend most of their time, and I have to give him credit for that. So he's giving you the best of both worlds, and you can't deny that. So. And on top of that, like I said, he had NFL coming in looking at you. So sometimes, it can't be always, I don't like what he's doing, I don't like this and that. Sometimes you have to get a guy credit. So he's giving you the best of both worlds. And then if you succeed on the field, that's even a better situation for you. So that's something to think about. You got to give him a little bit, some credit on that. Giving those kids the best of both worlds, regardless of where they're from, from Florida, whatever you get them from the inner cities. When they get out to Colorado, which of course, that's just a white place. It is what it is. You got skiing and all that stuff out there, brothers and all that. We don't really do all that skiing and snowboarding and all that, but that's why he's able to get those guys there, because he can give you the best of both worlds. And by the time you graduate, you may stay there and work because you're going to be acclimated. You're going to know how to deal with people outside of football, and it can be good for you. So again, Coach Prime giving those kids the best of both worlds. It's been Hunt 919, Truth to Sports. Ride with me.